0% APR. Trading conditions and
Hi, it's Freddie Bell, host of New Beginnings, heard every Saturday at 11 a.m. right here on AM 950. Each week, I bring you timely information on finances, AARP updates, Minnesota Department of Health information, what's going on around our area, a spiritual message, my words to the wise, history notes, and more. So tune in this Saturday at 11 a.m. for New Beginnings with me, Freddie Bell. I'll see you then.
Get ready for the best and biggest fireworks selection at Fireworks City in Baldwin, Wisconsin. And now they have exciting news. Free stuff is back with a $200 or more purchase. But that's not all. They're bringing back their incredible get 3 for 1 low price deal on all multi-shot cakes. Stock up on these incredible multi-shot cakes and get 3 for the price of 1. At Fireworks City, we're your one-stop shop for all your firework needs. Located just 25 minutes from St. Paul, it's worth a short drive on I-94 to exit 19. And here's the best part. Buy one, get one for 99 cents on every firework. Don't just take their word for it. See all the fireworks in action on one of their many TVs. Experience the excitement firsthand and make an informed choice. Bring your family and friends and head over to Fireworks City in Baldwin, Wisconsin. Exit 19 off Interstate 94. Fireworks City guarantees a fun and family-friendly atmosphere. The best deal on fireworks is waiting for you. Buy one, get one for 99 cents.
End-of-life decisions are not easy to make. Hi, I'm Mary T. of Mary T. Hospice Care. It's important to make sure that this difficult time is meaningful and comforting to you and your loved ones. Our hospice team provides an individualized program of physical, emotional, spiritual, and practical care so your loved one is comfortable and not in pain. At Mary T. Hospice, we understand that choosing the right hospice care provider can be overwhelming, but we're here to assist you. Learn more today at marytinc.com.
Hey, Cudahy to all my friends and relatives in 4 directions. This is Robert Pilot of Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake. I'm here to ask you for your support. Finding honest Native-centered news is not easy. But with your support, we're able to provide accurate information about Standing Rock, Line 3, treaty violations, and COVID-19 in our Native communities. Please visit Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon and donate if you can. That's Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon. Pinigigi, and thank you for your support.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for clear skies tonight with a low around 61, Wednesday sunny with a high near 89, and Thursday sunny with a high around 87. With craft spirits, mouth-watering entrees, and plenty of free parking, 30 Bales in Hopkins is the perfect place to relax and enjoy the best of Midwestern cuisine. Some of the favorites include the devilish eggs, beet salad, short rib pot pie, and decadent burgers. Located at 1106 Main Street in Hopkins, more at 30bales.com.
Portions of Native Roots Radio may be pre-recorded.
It's a good day to be indigenous.
Get up, stand up.
They are going to become more brutal.
Couldn't cut, hit me cut again.
Because all the hippies were trying to be Indians anyway.
They're going to become more repressive because it's a matter of dollars and their illusionary concepts of power.
Hey, Victor.
We must live in balance with the earth.
And also with recent happenings at Wounded Knee.
I am awake.
Welcome to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Wakanja Hade. Hey, Cudahy to all my friends and relatives in 4 directions. You are listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Robert Pilot. We discuss local and national Native news and events, and as you know, Haley, Native issues are human issues, and human issues are Native issues.
You're absolutely right, Daga. This portion of the show is supported by the Native American Community Clinic on Franklin Avenue in Minneapolis, honoring health and tradition.
Yes, they are, and yes, they do. Hey, we're going to have our Arvina Martin on, and also Ruth Buffalo checking in, and she was in the Not Invisible Act Commission hearing here in the Twin Cities, and I saw Arvina, and I was the MC of the Wisconsin Democratic Convention this past weekend, and she was there as a former city council member, first Native city council member in Madison's history. And we'll be talking about, the convention. I've never, Haley, I've never done that before where I'm an announcer and I had to really work on names and, you know how I am, like being on the show is that I destroy a few names here and there.
I know. You should have had me as your wing woman.
Yeah. Well, next time, if they invite me again, they offered me a place to put a booth, and now I kind of understand how or why. We could just handed out information, and
For sure.
and today, yeah. So next year, if they invite me back, I didn't miss anybody's name, and I was telling Wendy, there's over 40 names I have to say, and she's like, "Oh boy."
Yeah, it's a lot. It is a lot, but I'm sure you did great, Dega.
Well, there were a few really, really easy names, but there were also, in Wisconsin, there's a lot of big Polish group there that are politicians, and I was, on the verge of destroying their names, but I didn't because I practiced and I was prepared.
There you go. Practice makes perfect.
Exactly. Well, today we have Ruth Buffalo on, and I'm wondering, I do see Ruth there, and Ruth, welcome to Native Roots Radio. I really appreciate you stopping in.
Hi, yes, thank you. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you barely.
Okay, apologies, but yeah, thank you for having
No-
me.
Hey, you were in town, Ruth, for the Not Invisible Act Commission hearing, and I wanted to get a little update about that, Ruth.
Yeah, we are doing field hearings across the country, and yep, we were recently at the downtown Hilton in Minneapolis for a few days of field hearings, and we usually start the format of the hearings is we'll open up with panels in the morning, panels of they call them expert witnesses. So we had law enforcement and state's attorney's office and also state legislators and law enforcement from the different jurisdictions provide uh, their expertise, and we're able to take questions. Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan also attended and in person and offered opening remarks. Secretary Deb Haaland was able to provide comments remotely, and so yeah, it's a full day in the morning filled with panels, and then in the afternoon there's no media allowed, and then it's more closed session for still open to the public for public testimony.
Yeah, that's a really powerful, and I think, we talk about it and dance around it here on Native Roots Radio that, we're still here. And that's part of not being invisible and what you guys are talking about. And I know, Ruth, we've talked over the years about the MMIWR situation with our relatives missing, and there isn't a day that doesn't go by that a missing Native American comes across my Facebook, and it's still happening. Oops, Ruth, you're muted. There you go. Sorry, Ruth. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's a mandated. How did Secretary Deb Haaland refer to the Not Invisible Act Commission as a legally mandated body? When she was in Congress, she introduced this piece of legislation that is, at the federal level, there were it was bipartisan support from all of the 4 Native members of Congress at the time, and so. We are charged with providing a report full of recommendations that will go to the Department of Justice, Department of Interior, and Congress, and that is due this fall and will be sort of unveiled during the Tribal Leaders Summit at the White House, I believe November, December. So this week, the members of the Not Invisible Act Commission are out in Northern California at Blue Lake receiving public testimony. We'll be headed to Albuquerque the last week of June to hear from the communities, and we will be at Crown Plaza in Albuquerque for, I believe, 3 days of hearings starting June 28th, which will be closed to the media, and then 29th and 30th. So.
Well, Ruth, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, no problem. Sorry about that. Yeah, and at the end of July, we will be in Billings. That will be our final field hearing And then in August, we will have a online virtual hearing for community members who weren't able to attend to any of these on-site locations. But from the mid-April in Tulsa to end of April in Alaska to Flagstaff in mid-May, and then we were just in Minneapolis last week. End of June we'll be in Albuquerque, and then the end of July we'll be in Billings, and then virtual hearing in August. But in between, we do meet via Zoom with each of our respective subcommittees. So I was just coming from a subcommittee meeting this afternoon. But yeah, so it's a big responsibility, and that we don't take lightly, and we're hoping to really hear from the people in the communities directly impacted.
Yeah, we're talking with Ruth Buffalo, former North Dakota state representative. And Ruth, I know as a representative you were really busy, but it seems like you're really more busy now. I don't know. You got a lot of fires in the iron, and this is so important. And I know we talk about our missing relatives so much here on Native Roots Radio, and there's just stories that come up. I think we talked about years ago that I heard the story about up north in Duluth, where they have all those shipping boats of so many natives disappearing and never being seen again. And that just blew me away, because I had no idea, being an urban Indian and living here in the Twin Cities.
Yes, definitely. There's a lot of bad actors out there. So we're really pushing for accountability. And so in these subcommittee hearings, we are a part of a broad coalition, I guess you could say, with law enforcement. And so we're learning the struggles that law enforcement has, and then we're looking at the challenges across the different jurisdictions. And, we are unfortunately in the day and age where drug use and abuse is prevalent, and there are a lot of bad actors in that arena as well that are impacting our relatives who are dying young due to drugs, and bad actors are walking free, and who are basically drugging up our relatives, and then they get to walk free when our relatives die from overdoses. And so we're seeing this play out in real time, unfortunately, across the different jurisdictions, which is really, really unfortunate.
Ruth, thank you so much for stopping by with your busy schedule. Our audience really always loves when you're on. This is Ruth Buffalo, former North Dakota state representative, and our friend always. Thank you so much, Ruth.
So thank you for having me.
We'll see you soon.
On Saturday, June 17th, Metro Transit is making changes to transit service within your community. As they do each quarter, they review and analyze their resources and ridership trends. These service adjustments to routes continue Metro Transit's ongoing work to best serve customers throughout their system with their given resources. A summary of the upcoming service changes and a preview of the updated schedules are available now at metrotransit.org. That's metrotransit.org.
Get ready for the best and biggest fireworks selection at Fireworks City in Baldwin, Wisconsin. And now they have exciting news. Free stuff is back with a $200 or more purchase. But that's not all. They're bringing back their incredible get 3 for 1 low price deal on all multi-shot cakes. Stock up on these incredible multi-shot cakes and get 3 for the price of 1. At Fireworks City, we're your one-stop shop for all your firework needs. Located just 25 minutes from St. Paul, it's worth a short drive on I-94 to exit 19. And here's the best part. Buy one, get one for 99 cents on every firework. Don't just take their word for it. See all the fireworks in action on one of their many TVs. Experience the excitement firsthand and make an informed choice. Bring your family and friends and head over to Fireworks City in Baldwin, Wisconsin. Exit 19 off Interstate 94. Fireworks City guarantees a fun and family-friendly atmosphere. The best deal on fireworks is waiting for you. Buy one, get one for 99 cents.
When it comes to mental health, making connections with others can be a way forward. How do you reach out when you need someone? What do you do to support those who struggle? Connections can bring comfort, hope, and joy. Find ways that work for yourself and others, like sending a text, sharing a moment, offering a hug, seeing an old friend, creating space to listen. Visit cmentalhealth.org. That's cmentalhealth.org. cmentalhealth.org.
This is Leonard Peltier. I am in Coleman 1 U.S. Penitentiary, and I'm listening to Native Roots Radio.
And we're back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is supported by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
Well, it's always good to have Ruth on, Haley. It really, she's so busy, and it's great to have her stop in and give us these updates. It's amazing what she's done and what she does. So we really are grateful to have her on. You know, it's interesting today's Trump Trump indictment day, and we look forward to that here on Native Roots Radio. Donald Trump being the first former president to face a judge on federal charges, you know, and he pleaded not guilty in the Miami court today, and to dozens of felony counts. And you know, Haley, you know, he's had, I think, 37 counts against him.
I was just gonna say it was like a ridiculous amount of
well,
numbers.
he's the 45th president, so guess how many presidents have any of those against them? Any of those counts?
I don't think there is another president that had federal charges.
None.
None.
He's the only one.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Yeah, I mean, it's really bad, and the way things are lining up now, he still could be running for president and making a mockery of a bunch of things.
Mm-hmm.
And he won't see any jail time probably, but the courts aren't starting until later, so that's disappointing unless they speed up the courts and convict him.
Right.
You know, it's crazy. It's crazy. But you know, that we're living in these times it just blows my mind. And you know, it's funny, after he left the court, he went to a restaurant so he could get his ego filled with all these people that love him in Miami. And what a trip. I mean, I just, it's just unbelievable. And it's unbelievable too that he got 70 million votes too. So there's a lot of neighbors living around you and me that voted for him.
Yeah, I know, it's unfortunate when you do tally up the statistics of people who actually did vote for this guy. It's scary to leave, you know, knowing that there are so many of our neighbors who support the stuff that he supports. It is scary.
I want to just add up here. We were talking about a lot of, not being Invisible Act Commission hearing with, our MMIW stuff. I see a listener, Mike, put up in Los Angeles being a hub of human trafficking and the end destination for a lot of natives on the run for from their home should be a stop to speak to the Native community about this situation. It's rampant, but us being Midwesterners, that's we appreciate Mike bringing that up, because that makes a lot of sense. And I remember in the 70s and 80s, we had a lot of, just for instance, a lot of runaways from Minnesota ended up in California and Las Vegas, and that makes sense what Mike was saying. And
yeah, and I think we were talking about kind of like the Native homelessness or houselessness situation. Was that with Dr. Stately, I think?
Yes.
Yeah, when he went out to, he lived out there, right? When he was going to school or something. Yep. And he was talking about houselessness of natives out there. And I've been to California, Los Angeles, like a handful of times, and never really, I knew about the homeless situation and how big of a deal it was, but it never really crossed my mind, I guess, how many natives were a part of that.
Right.
But
And as you know, Haley, too, we haven't been homeless. We were never homeless before 1492,
right.
and that's kind of a saying in the Native community, but it's also a truism too, because we took care of our own, and we helped each other,
hmm
and we've tried that a few years ago. Of course, we always talked to Robert Lilligren about the Wall of Forgotten Natives and how sad that was and is, but still Minneapolis and St. Paul still have homeless population, and the population is a big Native American amount of people that are homeless and that are in these encampments that are all around the Twin Cities, and
Yeah.
there's
And it,
drug
and it
addiction,
shouldn't.
mental illness. Go ahead, Haley.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, and it shouldn't be like that, because it
Right.
is, our land, and we belong here, and we should have a safe place to call home.
And then we spider web it out to a lot of a drug addiction that we have, alcoholism, and a lot of the trauma that's caused us over the last few generations and at least the last 400 years. But I can't imagine here sitting in my house broadcasting this and going through what our relatives had to go through, whether it was removal, whether it was a battle with the colonizers. I just can't imagine it. And then we're still here, which is just a huge win for us that we're just even here, because
Yeah.
we're going to be wiped out totally.
Yeah. Well, I think it proves our resilience and our strength and our warrior spirit.
Exactly. And I might want to pull our guest in here. I wonder if she's ready, because I love talking to this young lady. I wonder, is it? Yeah, she can come on. Sweet.
Hi, Arvina.
Good
Oh,
to see. Wow, cool glasses. What the heck?
they're beading glasses,
I love them.
so I can thread my needle.
Right on. Hey, we're with Arvina Martin, and she's with Emerge Wisconsin, but also first former city council member of Madison, Wisconsin, which I love Madison. And I had the opportunity to see you in action this weekend. And
Yeah.
I don't know if you caught it, but I didn't mispronounce anybody's name when I was emceeing. So I'm really happy and kind of floating on cloud nine, because if you've listened to our show much, I destroy names and take no prisoners. And so I did good.
Yeah, just coming off of a convention weekend, had to take the day off because, it's a lot of peopling and a lot of talking and a lot of standing and running back and forth. And, I always end up having to take that Monday off because I'm really tired.
Well, the first day I saw you, you were wearing kind of a lime green ensemble, and then you had a Baby Yoda medallion.
Yes. I the Baby Yoda medallion was courtesy of the talents of Callie Logan, who is Ho Chunk, and I'm going to get this wrong, but I think he's from Wittenberg. But he's a member of the Little Priest Singers, and somebody saw it posted on Facebook and tagged me in it, and I was immediately like, yes, I need this.
Yeah. Wow, Little Priest singers. That's cool. I don't know if you could share. We only have like 2 minutes left in this segment, but share maybe the Little Priest story, because I know the story that I know about him before he passed on was a pretty intense story.
I bet you know more about it than I do, because I just know about it as the name of the drum as well as the school in Nebraska.
Well, he was injured in a battle, and very badly injured, and he was many miles away from home. And he said he did not want to die until he was on his own land, and basically that's what happened. To make the story very short, and it took days and days for him to be returned to home before he passed on. And in the true warrior spirit, he did what he wanted to do at the end.
Well, I remember reading an article in the Wisconsin State Journal years back that was a story about how Ho-Chunks resisted being removed, and I believe the title of the headline of the article was "Ho-Chunks stubbornness ... they survived because of it."
Mm-hmm.
And that sounds like another instance of our sort of stubbornness, and I say stubbornness in a good way.
Yeah.
And it definitely contributed to our survival and our ability to thrive, that we've and our resilience and all of it, you know.
Well, I love it. I've heard a podcast a few years ago from the University of Wisconsin-Madison by some professors, history professors, and they were talking about the removal of Ho-Chunk, and they were two white guys, but it was really funny how they're talking about, well, they'd be sent out and then surprise, they'd be back, you know. And there was a few people that they mentioned by name that went back and forth about 10 times. So that's an interesting.
They kept having military guys stay with us and say, "You stay until you're sure that they're going to stay there." And sure enough, like a year later, he went back and we were already there by the time he came back.
Well, cool. Hey, we're going to have a deep discussion. We'll talk a little bit about the convention, and we're here with Arvina Martin, Emerge Wisconsin CEO, and also former city council member of Madison, First Native American. We'll be right back. And Ho-Chunk all the way. We got 3 Ho-Chunks here. We are jamming.
Yay.
Stay with us.
I heard sex trafficking happens a lot in Indian country. What is that?
Here are some of the real reasons why sex trafficking happens in Indian country. Unequal gender roles that were forced on us by colonization. Communities don't have enough resources. Silence around domestic and sexual violence. Lack of attention and justice for missing and murdered Indigenous people. There's a lot of behavior that keeps our communities out of balance. These are just a few true reasons why Native communities are targeted by traffickers. When these acts of violence happen in our communities, it opens us all up for exploitation.
Sponsored by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
Hey, Ogama, I've been hearing a lot about this term, climate justice. What is that?
Climate justice is recognizing that the negative impacts of climate change don't affect all people equally. It also means transitioning from a fossil fuel-based economy to a more sustainable future. MN350 is one of the groups that's pushing for this transition to protect our futures. You can even get involved too.
That's great, especially since I'm concerned about pipeline projects like Line 3. How can I help MN350?
Just find them on Facebook or visit mn350.org.
Your Blue Line Extension project wants to hear from you. We are working on extending the Blue Line light rail into North Minneapolis, Robbinsdale, Crystal, and Brooklyn Park, and connecting it to our growing transit system. Tell us about your neighborhood, your business, your family, and what you need from your Blue Line. Learn more and share more of your story at yourblueline.org. That's yourblueline.org.
This is Chad, owner of AM 950. Our station is located on a marsh, and we do our best not to disturb that environment. So I was thrilled to discover Natural Lawn. Their safer products and soil tests ensure that your lawn will be healthy, lush, and green. I don't even have to worry about bringing my furry friend to the station, thanks to the great care from Natural Lawn. I highly recommend Natural Lawn to keep your lawn beautiful, healthy, without compromising safety and sustainability. More at naturalawn.com.
Life is a journey, and the Doherty Family College at the University of St. Thomas will help you get where you want to go. Located in downtown Minneapolis, this affordable 2-year college provides free textbooks, a laptop, meals, career coaches, and a Metro Transit pass, making DFC the perfect pathway to a bachelor's degree. Turn your dreams into reality at Doherty Family College at the University of St. Thomas. Apply today at dfc.stthomas.edu.
Hey, it's Patrick. While you and your family are ready for summer, make sure your home is ready for summer too. There are going to be a lot of people over at your house for those barbecues and graduation parties in June, so make sure to check in with my friends at Zero Res to make sure your floors are in tip-top shape. And now that summer is finally here, it's time to take advantage of Zero Res's best deal of the year. Carpets, tile, rugs, upholstery, basically every surface in your home can be Zero Resified, so it's time to call my cleaning heroes at Zero Res. It's also the perfect time of year to get your air ducts and your dryer vent cleaned too. You've waited and now you save. Book now and take advantage of the summer sale and get 20% off all services. Schedule your appointment by calling 9520-RES or going to zeroresminnesota.com and asking for the AM 950 special. Backorder forward spells the same. Zero Res.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for clear skies tonight with a low around 61, Wednesday sunny with a high near 89, and Thursday sunny with a high around 87. From the bright personalities to the bold flavors, 30 Bales in Hopkins is the perfect gathering spot for anyone looking for a taste of the Midwest. Whether you're stopping by for a quick drink or settling in for a leisurely meal, you'll find plenty to love at 30 Bales. Located at 1106 Main Street in Hopkins or at 30bales.com.
Welcome back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is supported by the Native American Community Development Institute in Minneapolis.
Yes, it is, and we really appreciate their support and all the great work that they do, making voting a tradition and all those great things. Hey, we're here with Arvina Martin. And Arvina, before we get deep into the talking about the Wisconsin Democratic Convention that I was blessed to be there, it's Arraignment Day, and I wonder if you have any feeling on that, because I know I'm ecstatic, and I just think that we need to put this guy away or stop him running, or I don't know, but I'm very happy. What are your feelings?
I mean, the rule of law applies to everybody, and I think that we should be able to hold our leaders to even a higher account or a higher standard than just follow the law. And the whole while other people have classified documents, I mean, I think that reasonable people can agree that somebody accidentally taking some reasonable documents that are classified are not the same as someone who is actually, actively trying to take documents with some of our nation's most sensitive nuclear secrets or secrets regarding our military, etc. I don't understand why anybody would want any former leader to have these. I know that I wouldn't be happy if I found out that any Democratic leader had taken top secret military secret documents, nuclear secrets, and I would absolutely be very unhappy to hear that. And so it's not a partisan thing, but I yikes. All I can say is yikes.
That's a great point. And then I hear a lot of the Republican talking points out there, like, well, Hillary, and it's just like, oh my God, you guys spent $45 million trying to convict her 3 times and found nothing. And now they're making up stuff with, she had the hammer to her server and the hard drives. And it's like, oh my God.
I think the thing that amuses me and also annoys me the most is Speaker Kevin McCarthy saying, oh, well, it was in his bathroom, so that means the door locks. Like, what? Also, the bathroom door is only locked from the inside. It just Why these
the
people that are supposedly like serious leaders are putting their necks out for this guy who is absolutely unserious is I mean, bonkers? Is that an appropriate word? It's bonkers. I wouldn't. Yikes.
I know. And Ron Johnson, who I hate to
Oh,
say this, but he was originally from Minnesota. I think he was born here, and I don't want to, really bring that up too many times, but I'm sure you heard that, and it's just like, are you kidding me? His
mean,
quote today, I don't even know if you heard it. I'm not even going to mention it if you didn't hear it, but it
I
was like
will
from
look it
outer
up.
space.
But I
Yeah.
also realize that Ron Johnson is let's just say less than intellectually curious about things. And so it doesn't surprise me that he is ready to support this kind of nonsense that makes us all less safe as Americans. Like, I don't like, come on. It's scary.
Well, you're supposed to be supporting the police and the military, and yet, if you're giving out these secret documents to foreign countries, you're not helping our military at all.
Yeah, no, not at all. No. Nope.
And Mike says the entire world is laughing at us Americans right now, and I agree. It's unbelievable. I had a relative that was a Trumper that was in England, and this was when he was president, and the English bartender was just like laughing at her, and she got upset and left, because that's her president, and it's just like, but that's the way people feel about us, and go ahead.
Oh, I was actually going to say, I had, when he first got elected, I was playing at Roller Derby World Cup in Manchester, England, representing Team Greece because my mom's dad was from Greece. And
Wait a minute. You were in the roller derby?
Oh, I still play roller derby. I'm coming off of a broken foot that I broke the day before election day.
That's awesome. Well, we'll have to talk about that one show, the whole show.
Absolutely. But I remember being in the UK, and it was right around when he gave his first Trump gave his first State of the Union address, and I was like, this was the first State of the Union address that I had not listened to in over a decade. And I remember being really happy that I missed it, but that there were people in the UK being like, oh, you're from the US. I was like, I worked for Hillary. I worked to get her elected. I promise I'm not one of those. And they're like, oh, okay. And kind of gave me a pat on the shoulder and saying, we understand. I think that they were also dealing with their own kind of conservative, leadership at the time. So they understood. But at the same time, I felt very defensive and being like, I worked against him. I promise I did. I can show you my pay stub.
That old prime minister looked like he combed his hair with a firecracker. I don't know what that was all about.
Boris Johnson. Yeah. His hair was not his hairstyling was not his strong suit.
Right. Wow. Well, that was an amazing time, and we all should be wearing T-shirts, and especially that Hillary was right, and she called it all in that one debate they had. Everything that she said came true, which is cool. And also Hillary won the vote number too. She lost an electoral college, but she won in the popular vote.
Yep. Don't get me started, because I'll probably start having feelings and being really upset because it was a really rough time for those of us that believe in democracy and we're hopefully getting ready to elect our first woman president. It was just a really rough time, but sometimes those happen in politics, and you have to roll with them.
Well, speaking of politics, I know you're still kind of looking for Ron Johnson's unbelievable quote, but I want to talk a little bit about the protocols of working with tribes and how that I guess they would call it a little symposium that you did with a packed room
Yeah.
This weekend, and I learned some things too. And I was taking pictures of your PowerPoint. Not that I was going to steal them, but just to know the knowledge that you had out there. Great job, by the way.
Oh, thank you so much. And also it's public knowledge. So share it, share what you need. And I mean, the more that gets out to people that want to organize in Indian country, I think is, I'm not proprietary about it. I would just want people to know how to act and know how to reach out appropriately to Indian country in whatever shape or form it is, whether it's, res folks, whether it's urban Indian communities, whether it's, student groups, the like, there's different ways. And it's important for people to understand that the way that you organize politically and try to work for a candidate with the majority culture, it's not necessarily the same as doing the same kind of work within Indian country, within Native communities. And starting off by describing and talking about what sovereignty is and what it's supposed to be, and what tribal sovereignty is then supposed to be, and then showing everybody, well, this is how it actually works. And, having to continually ask, does this sound like the definition of sovereignty that we discussed earlier? No. I think that even just that kind of information, makes people think again. And I gave the presentation 3 times this weekend during our Wisconsin Democratic convention. So, I'm really grateful that the party recognized the importance of this kind of presentation and the importance of the information, and that every party leader, whether they're a county party leader, a congressional district chair, if they're elected to office, whether it's local or state or even higher, that information is crucial to understanding how tribes operate and why Indian people, I don't want to say are the way that we are, but the way that we react to things and react to efforts, react to campaigners coming into our communities. So, yes, I'm seeing this comment from Mike Diaz saying this is being tried in the court over ICWA. The number one question is about sovereignty. And yes, that was the first main point that I wanted to make, was that tribal sovereignty is not any different than any other kind of sovereignty, and that that federal Indian law is very it doesn't follow the rules that we normally think of, or follow our supposed American ideals when it comes to, self-determination, etc., in order to keep tribes subordinate to them. So.
Yeah. And I always like, when you're dealing with tribes, just to have our white allies remember, and all our allies remember, that Custer had scouts. So you got to watch who you're talking to and know who you're talking to, correct?
Absolutely.
Hey, you're listening to Native Roots Radio, and with our Arvina Martin, another Ho-Chunk, Hoa, and we are talking about a lot of things, but we're also talking a little bit about what happened this weekend and at the Wisconsin Democratic Convention, and the great job that she did. We'll be right back after this short break. Please stay with us. Hoa. Minnesota has the only original wolf population in the continental United States.
And 80% of Minnesotans believe the wolf should be protected.
Howling for Wolves is asking Minnesotans to respect our true wildlife manager, the wolf.
Their survival is critical to our ecosystems, our communities, and even our economy.
As highly intelligent animals with strong social bonds, Minnesota wolves deserve to be protected and admired.
Learn more at howlingforwolves.org. Let's live and let howl. Howl!
Hey, this is Robert Pilot. I taught in St. Paul Public Schools for over 25 years, and I want you to join the team and make a difference in our children's future. Right now, St. Paul Public Schools is offering hiring and retention bonuses up to $10,000 for a variety of teaching and classroom support positions for the next school year. Grow in a supportive and fulfilling public school setting. Limited bonuses are available, so don't delay. Apply at spps.org/careers.
On Saturday, June 17th, Metro Transit is making changes to transit service within your community. As they do each quarter, they review and analyze their resources and ridership trends. These service adjustments to routes continue Metro Transit's ongoing work to best serve customers throughout their system with their given resources. A summary of the upcoming service changes and a preview of the updated schedules are available now at metrotransit.org. That's metrotransit.org.
When it comes to mental health, connections with others can be a way forward. How do you reach out when you need someone? What do you do to support those who struggle? Whether you're struggling or know someone who struggles, see connections as comfort, hope, and joy, like sending a text, sharing a moment, offering a hug, seeing an old friend, seeing your grandma. Together we can find ways to create a path forward. Visit cmentalhealth.org. Visit cmentalhealth.org.
Hi, this is Representative Sharice Davids from Kansas. I'm Ho Chunk, and you're listening to Native Roots Radio.
And we're back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is supported by Howling for Wolves, protecting wolves for future generations. Howl!
Our guest didn't howl. I only
Come
heard
on,
two.
Arvina.
I'm not Wolf Clan.
Good answer. Neither am I.
Next time.
We fly over you.
Well.
We fly over you. I'm Eagle Clan. I don't know if you see the hey, we're here with Arvina Martin, and we're talking a little bit about the Wisconsin Democratic Convention. And I just have to say, there was a special guest that was the last speaker, and I'm not always a huge fan because I'm super progressive, but she kind of knocked it out of the park, I think, with her speech. Were you there for that?
No, unfortunately, I sounds so nerdy. I got overheated and had to go back to my hotel room and jack the AC up real high so I could not have a fever or something. So I missed the entire evening program.
Oh, well, and then you missed the fact that I didn't mispronounce people's names, which I'm still like glowing about here.
As you should be. It's a big achievement.
Yeah, definitely. So what else? Let's talk. Why don't we talk a little bit in this last segment here, a little bit about the Emerge Wisconsin. And I think it's something that every time you're on, we should definitely talk about at least a few minutes about what's going on next and what's happening.
Yeah. So for those who might not know, Emerge Wisconsin is a program that trains Democratic women to run for office. We have affiliates in multiple states. So it's not just a Wisconsin specific program, but that's the program that I run. We also invite non-binary folks who are comfortable in female-centered spaces to apply and participate in our program. So we are trying to be as progressive regarding gender as we can while sticking to our main mission. We are currently in the middle of training our class of 2023. Actually, not this weekend, but the weekend after, the last weekend in June, we have our last training weekend, and then we'll be having our class of 2023 graduation, which is really exciting. It'll be my first class graduating, and I am committed to reaching out to areas that we don't normally see a lot of Democrats running for office and finding these talented women and non-binary folks to who are interested, and getting them trained so they feel confident and know that they have the skills, not just the skills, but the connections as well to other amazing leaders that they can ask questions of, that they can ask to serve as mentors. It's really a fabulous program. I participated and graduated from the program in 2014. So, and it really changed my life and my career path. So I'm so honored to be able to lead this organization into the future. And one of my big goals is to increase the number of Native women and Native non-binary folks, Two-Spirit people, that we can get to participate in our program, because I very, very, very firmly believe that if we want to get more democratic and more progressive elected leaders in kind of the Northwoods area, going to tribal members is going to be the easiest way to do it. We have so many talented folks that are ready to and just need either to be asked, but also to be trained. And I want to see more Native folks on school boards, on city councils, on county boards, so that we can build our bench and hopefully, in the next few years, get our first Native state legislative candidate elected to office, get our first Native statewide candidate elected to office, get our first Native Congress member. We had Tricia Zunker, who ran for office a couple cycles ago. We don't need just one candidate. Let's get candidates in all races, and let's get our Native people out there to support them, so we can, help protect our values and protect the things that are important to us, and also share our perspectives in these spaces that have ignored our perspectives for so long. Basically the entire history of this country, our perspectives have been ignored, and it is beyond time for our tribal members to be part of this conversation as stakeholders, as voting members of local bodies, state bodies, and federal bodies. It's about time, and we can do it.
Yeah. You can, and I wonder, would it be a kind of a plan or a strategic plan in a way to really market this into a place like Black River Falls, where we do have a nice sized community of Native Americans, and start with the school board and go with a state senator and so on?
Oh, absolutely. I think that any community that is near or on tribal land, we should be looking for candidates from our communities to represent, our represent us on these bodies. There's so many times that we think about, outside government as being not for us. And because honestly, they haven't been for us. But as soon as you put us on these bodies, then we are able to center the conversation and policy initiatives that are important to us. We can have people in local and state and federal government who understand how to work with our tribal governments. Why would we not want this to happen? I think that it's only positive to have our impact. I also always talk about how we have, everybody has their blind spots. We all have them, and that's absolutely human and totally fine. And if we have legislative bodies that only have one experience or very limited experiences, these blind spots are huge. So when we get people with different experiences, we're able to make those blind spots smaller. And we're able to create policy that represents and helps more people than if everybody on the body has, the same experience and the same, ideas of what needs to happen. I mean, just think about what happened during the pandemic and the number of women legislators at the federal level who were like, hey, we need to support, we need money to support childcare. That's going to be a huge thing. And all of these, older men were like surprised Pikachu face. Like, why would that matter? Oh, because that's where their blind spots are.
Right.
So.
And part of your job, I imagine, is to educate. And that's kind of why we have this show here, because I know there's a lot of education going on here in Minnesota with our 4 representatives and lieutenant governor, and moving the needle over with educating our allies, because even our allies don't know things about us or how to deal with us.
Oh, absolutely. And our allies are dying to know. They want to know and they want to learn. So that's one of the reasons why I really worked hard to create this kind of Tribes 101 presentation that we could give at the state convention, because I know there's a market, there's the market there that people want to know. What is tribal sovereignty? What are you talking about when you talk about protecting wolves, or, the Brackeen case with ICWA? And this is how we begin to teach them. So.
Thank you so much for coming on. It's always a great conversation, and you have so much knowledge, and it's always good to have 3 Ho-Chunks on the station, even though Ruth Buffalo was on earlier.
We can call her an honorary Ho-Chunk, right?
Right on. Exactly. Hey, you're listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake. Free Leonard Peltier. Now we're still here. We are the 7th generation.
J&S Bean Factory is a Native-owned, community-supported, cozy, artsy coffee shop which offers